These guys, when they show up to do their shows or they show up for their training, they have the ability to leave all of their other stuff behind for a short period of time and focus on nothing but their flying. The planes are ready, they're gassed up, they're serviced, they're in awesome condition. You know that they're being maintained by the best guys in the world. There's no other civilian traffic. They're out there, they're ready. All they have to focus on is flying.
We're getting towed out of the hangar right now. Jimmy's in the front seat. We're gonna crank up. It's just gonna be Jimmy and I. We're gonna get airborne. He's gonna put the Mustang through his paces for a little bit, basically a warm-up.
Jimmy is, I think, I'll tell you why I think he's a lead, because somebody has to have the 800-pound gorilla on their shoulders, and I damn sure don't want it.
It's a smart thing for Jimmy to do, to actually get airborne, practice the routine once before he starts throwing either Shipley or Dan on his wing, because once he gets them in there as the lead, he's responsible for making sure that everything goes pristinely.
I'm not sure how he became lead, but he's a damn good lead. And I'd go anywhere with Jimmy, and he knows that. And I just feel privileged to be able to fly on his wing.
Here we go, baby! And we're airborne.
We're watching Beasley. So this is the first time that we've had all of us together. So this is a big ramp up for us flying the routine.
So basically now Jimmy's just testing to see how the flight control surface is different from his Mustang. He said the ailerons are just wired a little bit differently, so we're going to see if it's something that he thinks is significant enough to actually change how he has to fly the routine.
Jim does a fabulous job from what I can see, and he's extremely cautious, not to a fault, but well aware of what's going on all the time. And he doesn't take anybody into any zone that could be called a danger zone. He leads very, very well, and both Ed and Dan, I believe, have full confidence in him. And you have to in this game.
Air's kind of bumpy today. Right into the clouds. Attaboy, Jimmy. Nah, they're scattered. It's all right.
People talk about the responsibility of leading. I don't know if I'm the only one on the team with a responsibility. I mean, I have an obligation to not hit the ground, and I have an obligation to not fly over the crowd, and I have an obligation to give a smooth enough lead so that the guys can fly the wing. But there's as much responsibility on the wing to not hit me as there is for me not hit the ground. So it's a flow-through thing. I mean, there's no, I think, more responsible job out front than it is on the side. I just try to be very careful that if I don't have the energy or if it doesn't feel right, I'll knock off a maneuver. I mean, I think I've only done that once in the last, how many years, 13 years or so. I've only had to do it once, but.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. First flight, just kind of 30,000 foot view. Let's just go out and just go fly. I've got about 110 gallons of gas. I don't know what you guys have.
I've got a lot.
I got a lot. Well, why don't we go out and burn some off?
Jimmy's a very interesting guy. Of his curious nature and the way that he likes to do things and his motorcycle riding and all that stuff and his passion for things, his thirst for history and all of that really zeroes in on the world of aviation, and in particular when it comes to warbirds, and extra particular when it gets to the P-51 Mustang. And it translates in the way that he flies. I mean, Jimmy he's just a really spectacular pilot. I trust him with my life. I would go anywhere and do anything with him, and at any given moment, I would choke him with my bare hands.
If somebody feels uncomfortable, the key is just to roll away. You're just going to be rolling that way. And if you have a problem, you'll roll that way. If it doesn't feel right, just don't immediately jump out. Just hang, because if I'm flying, you're flying.
He knows how important it is to take the job that he has serious. And in the realm of the horseman, Jimmy's numero uno. But he's got his little idiosyncrasies that if you don't know them, you'll learn them pretty quick.
What happens if I touch this?
Because there's a lot going on, we got to give everybody a wide berth.
This is the first time 3 of us have come together doing this, and I think the first one is, just get familiar and get the feel of it rather than fine-tuning until we've done it.
All right, I want on record as saying this is the very first 3-ship horseman routine. All right, here we go. Jimmy's number 1, Dan's number 2, and Ed's number 3. This is no kidding, the very first time these guys have taken off and tried to do a 3-ship. So a little bit of a historical story. It's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be pristine, but we're going to give it a shot. So here we go, guys.
I think lead's the easiest position. And, I'm doing it because I kind of like the three-dimensional thought process of it. I mean, I enjoy that and working the energy dynamic of being at the right place at the right time, at the right speed, at the right heading. And that's kind of the enjoyment that I get out of it.
Okay, ready to go?
Let's go. All right, on the roll. We're airborne for the very first horseman 3-ship. And now we're really going to see where this goes.
So that's why Jimmy's the lead. He's cool, he's calculating, he's a cerebral kind of guy. And that's what you need as a number 1. And then you let your little chicks on the wing just get in there and do their job.
When you go from 2 to 3, you are adding not just one element of complexity. I mean, there's a couple elements. How aggressive I'm going to lead with 3 planes versus 2. I've got my own. Normally, I've been doing this for so many years with a 2-ship up front that I'm only used to seeing stuff out the right side of my head. And so now all of a sudden, when we're doing these rolling maneuvers or upside down stuff, most of my turns are to the left. So I'm usually looking this way, even though the plane's going that way. I'm looking this way, I see a clear area. Well, now when I'm looking that way, I see an airplane out there. And it's not just I see an airplane, I see a big propeller right there. And a big propeller that's spinning at like 2,700 RPM. That's right next to my wing. So that's a psychological change for me that I've just got to deal with. And it went pretty well because everybody's respecting each other's space. You have your own little bubble, and everybody's real good about respecting that. So that's the first issue as far as I'm concerned for what I do. Other than that, I'm basically doing the same thing. I've got to be a little bit more gentle because I'm getting used to Dan and Dan's getting used to me. He's used to flying with Ed since they were flying together as a 2-ship. So he's got to get acclimated to the way I manage energy.
It is a very intimate experience, flying with 2 guys at 400 miles an hour toward the ground, and knowing that one baby little mistake can translate through all 3 ships and screw things up in a huge, horrible way.
Some people would say the risk is unrealistic and you should go play golf or go play frisbee with your dog. From a practical perspective, given the skills that are involved here, the risk isn't that great.
Jimmy's really working today. He's earning his bucks as flight lead. He's got to get this formation all the way maneuvered around clouds. Not as easy as it looks.
It was nice to have about as good a seat as you're going to get to watch these guys grow as a team.
This is what people won't see when they come to an air show and watch these guys. The countless hours of these guys in the air with 3 Mustangs trying to get it right. And that's all they want to do, is they want to try and get it right. And they don't want to get hurt doing it, and they want it to represent the damn plane the way it should.
One thing during the rolling maneuvers interesting and new is you have this sense of urgency that I've got to stay on the top of your wing because you see another blip coming down towards you. And it's just psychologically, it's kind of, makes you stay with the roll.
I purposely made the decision that I was going to stay back. And I was like, I'm not gonna fly forward as much as I can, and I'm gonna try to stay back and out as much. So, we got a lot to learn, but I was excited to see that we were even up in the same sky, getting 3 of us up there doing it.
Hang on. Hang on. Ready, pull down. Okay, all right, here we go to another loop, I think. That might be a barrel roll. Yep, another barrel roll.
With Jimmy, we pick on him for not talking a lot and not telling us what he's going to do. You just know you're going for a ride. You know you're going to be safe. And we follow him anywhere. But we give him a hard time about, tell us what the hell you're doing.
Ready, pull down. Ready, roll it down. Pull down. Ready, roll it down. Rolling left. Copy,
if you're using less rudder on that, Jimmy, just so I can know what you're doing. I have no idea what you're saying, Ed. You've flown this 1,000 times. Just let me fly, please.
Jimmy basically told Ed to shut up.
That's just how it's so damn hard to stay with that barrel roll. It was just major full.
I mean, I know the guys want to know all the time what's going on, but my head is pretty full when I'm flying around and I'm trying to play this four-dimensional game. I mean, it's sometimes hard to also, because I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I just kind of, I just go where I have to go, and I don't know where I'm going until I go there, if that makes sense. And so I can't communicate any better than I do. And so I basically just say, look, just hang on. I'm not gonna drive you to the ground or a tower. Just stay with me.
Another one down.
So that's it. What a weekend. 2 full days of flying. And, you know, we learned a lot of lessons. I think the biggest one we learned is that this is not easy. It might look easy from the ground when you're watching it and everything's going great, but it's a whole different world, man. A whole different kind of flying. And it's new to some, not new to others, but the whole concept of this 3-ship is new to everybody. And it's been a fun ride so far, and we got a ways to go yet.